I think it'd be wonderful if we look back what we were using in public schools 20 and 30 years ago, when kids had to memorize the multiplication tables, when phonics taught children how to read.
A member of the State Board of Education from Beaumont says schools need to get back to the basics and get away from programs like CSCOPE. A movement is now underway that could lead in that direction. Good evening, I'm Megan Dillard. Thank you for joining us. Kelly has the night off. It's the first step in what could lead to the elimination of or radical changes to a controversial teaching aid used in hundreds of school districts across Texas. What happened in a local district pushed the topic into the hands of the State Board of Education and placed it in the national spotlight. It was this picture, several girls at Lumberton High School dressed in traditional Muslim garb, that captured eyes across the country. Critics say just another CSCOPE lesson carrying hidden propaganda that has no place in the classroom. The district denied that claim, saying it's a decades-old lesson a particular teacher uses and has nothing to do with CSCOPE. KFDM reporter Justin Hinton is investigating. He joins us live in the studio with the latest developments. Justin?
Megan, a committee including some members of the State Board of Education took part in a planning meeting today in Dallas to review CSCOPE. Representatives from education service centers in Texas are also part of the committee. The centers helped develop the program. Well, the group left the meeting with a detailed timeline for presenting its findings to CSCOPE directors. Their goal? To review the lesson plans before the end of the summer. That's 1,600 lessons. I sat down with the District 7 State Board of Education Representative David Bradley to get his take on CSCOPE. I also spoke to the board's chair by phone. She was in Dallas for the meeting. She told me they spent 4 hours organizing how they would review CSCOPE. The panel consisted of 4 members of the State Board of Education and 4 employees of education service centers. Like I said before, that's the group that helped develop the program. It was purely a planning meeting. They laid out a timeline for reviewing the curriculum. David Bradley also provided insight on the committee's next steps.
Be reaching out to people all over the state to want to review these things at their home and their businesses and provide some input. And ultimately, there'll be recommendations then that will be put together to go back to the CSCOPE developers for suggested changes.
But it's important to note, unless the Texas legislature passes a bill to give the state board oversight of CSCOPE, then the developers of CSCOPE have no obligation to change anything. David Bradley says the state board should control CSCOPE with the ultimate goal of making sure educators get back to the basics.
We have abandoned phonics and grammar and spelling. These are the core principles. And the argument that is, well, repetitive and memorization is hard work. I'm sorry. School and education is hard work. That's what we pay teachers for.
Now, the committee plans to send its recommendations to CSCOPE August 1st. If you'd like to apply for a spot on the review panel, you can visit the Texas Education Agency's website April 9th. That's when the application process will go live. We'll make sure we put a link on our website as the date approaches. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Justin Hinton, KFDM 6 News.